Hey, I know I haven't done a video in a long time and been busy doing some stuff. That's all I need to be said. But, anyways, I have been seeing a stream of really stupid people saying really stupid things, especially on the MRA part, about Star Wars female figures not selling well, and then other people just saying that Star Wars ain't selling that well, both male and female. The ones who said that the Star Wars ain't selling well, I agree with them because it's not. Fact, I've seen because um, Star Wars figures aren't selling well in any stores right now, and there are some people in the retail department saying some really stupid fucking shit. But unfortunately, the word that's been going around is that it's all the female characters because if you recognize the last Star Wars film had a character named Rose, and some are straight up just blaming, the General Leia, who played by the late Carrie Fisher, who died, because when they're not spitting on her grave, they like to kick her tombstone a while and then go to her children and say that their mother was worthless for being a woman. Now, here's some funny parts about I find. I'm going to say this up front. Star Wars toys aren't selling, and I want you to bear with me on this because of the simple fact that the last two Star Wars films sucked. Nothing about being a woman. And we know this because there is an all-female superhero movie which did sell well. And I give you three guesses. Oh, it was Wonder Woman. And as you know, Captain Marvel is coming out. And of course, you got these guys all complaining about a female superhero movie now coming out. Because, and most of them are stating, are pretending that the Wonder Woman film didn't, come out and become a massive hit and actually sold a ton of action figures. And that Zack Snyder's movie came out, his Superman Return, or no, the Man of Steel, and of course Superman, Batman, which were not very critically well received. And then his Justice League movie, which was a nonsensical mess. No, it had to be the woman's fault, the women characters. That one superhero, female superhero, who had an excellent toy line and an excellent movie. Because boys wanted to see people with penises over people with vaginas. Because, if the story is actually good and the movie is actually watchable, like, I don't know, say fucking Wonder Woman, it's going to fail. And it's all because there's a woman in the main spotlight. Bull fucking shit. The Star Wars movies didn't fail because there were women in there. It failed because it was a shit fucking movie. And yeah, I'm talking about that stupid fucking scene where they had Princess Leia literally flying in outer space and make it back to the hangar. And she wasn't using a spaceship. She was blown out in the air dock, floated in space without a spacesuit, and literally just flew herself back into a hangar. The last movie didn't flop because of woman power, even though they were empathizing that in there. It flopped because it sucked. I mean, here's what. And then you got the people who complain about the Ghostbusters film, which was also a massive piece of shit. And it was a piece of shit because of Amy Pascal opening up and saying nasty things. It, and how she constantly kept dissing Ivan Reitman, the director of the first film, and just and how she used Howard Ramis' death to basically take over the franchise and didn't give two flying fucks. She put in a Howard statue in there to honor him right after she pissed on his grave. And let's not forget the Twitter arguments she went in that forced her to shut down her Twitter account. And this is what I'm going to say. The Star Wars franchise and the Ghostbusters franchise, well, the Ghostbusters was handed to a complete and utter bitch. And she ended up losing her job, and then and then the Ghostbusters was handed to an asshole, Ivan Reichman, I believe his name was. The man's a dick. He's the reason why we almost didn't have a Deadpool movie, and why Fox almost ended up filing for bankruptcy, and now is being bought by Disney. Now, I'm going to get back into the whole Marvel and their whole female sexism shit that everybody's saying, because there's a little tiny story that they don't know about. But let's talk about Star Wars and why it's a shit fest. And it's a shit fest not because there's a woman at the helm, because, the Wonder Woman proved much more better of a watchable film than, Zack Snyder's film. And Wonder Woman will always stand as and not forgetting Black Panther, are going to be the two movies that prove these MRI, males rights activist morons that they clearly don't know what they're fucking talking about. But the Star Wars film failed, not because it was a woman or some woman saying women's rights, fuck old man, kill old man, blah, blah, blah. No, it died because Star Wars handed the whole franchise to this female. And I forget her name right now, but it's not because she's an ultra feminist. It's because she's an ultra dumbass. Or, how can I put this nicely? A moron. And unfortunately, Miss Stupid can't figure out how to get a good film together, and she handed the rights to J.J.R. Abrams, who basically fucked up the Star Trek film franchise, and now the film franchise, the newer film franchises are dead, and now we're stuck with that shitfest of Star Trek Discovery or Destiny, which is just an annoying piece of shit with characters who are literally carbon copies from the clusterfuck known as Stargate Universe. There was a TV show called Stargate Universe, and it was an unwatchable fucking mess. Everybody there was dumbasses on fucking Stargate Universe. Watching a bunch of nerds thinking they can go fist to fist and take down Marines, well-trained armed Marines. Oh, that film. I mean, TV show. Yeah, Stargate Universe was a TV show, not a movie. But these arguments are getting pretty fucking stupid. I mean, this is the She-Ra idiot nonsense all over again. If you guys don't know, there was a set of action figures called He-Man. And it was going straight up, and everybody was buying these action figures. And then suddenly the Transformers came out, and a sudden decline was going on. And right at the edge of that decline, well, people seem to think that, She-Ra, the sister of He-Man, came out right at the top and then immediately dumped because no one wanted to play with the She-Ra action figure, which wasn't true because She-Ra came a few months, about a couple of, I believe a year after the decline had already started. It wasn't, and what really sent the He-Man toy figures way down was of course, the Dolph Lundgren film with Courtney Cox and the pilot of Voyager. The TV show Star Trek Voyager. I'm not fucking joking. That film actually exists. It was an unwatchable fucking mess. After that, the He-Man franchise, even today, was unsalvageable. They came up with 2 cartoon series, and even they couldn't save the He-Man franchise. It was gone, and it had nothing to do with She-Ra. It mostly had to do with Hasbro now having an actual toy to compete with them, and the fact that He-Man was more of a fad, and when it disappeared, the toy line just stopped selling. She-Ra was actually a last-ditch attempt to save the franchise because the toy lines was already on a decline. It had nothing to do with She-Ra. She was just an attempt and it failed. My point is, people don't care about the race and gender of characters inside of a movie. They only want one thing when they get into that movie and buy the toys. And that is that they want good stories and people not to be dicks to each other. No one saw Ghostbusters because Amy Pascal was a complete bitch throughout the whole thing. And she got her emails hacked. And then she was a complete bitch afterwards to the point that she was fired. And the whole franchise was handed to an asshole. In Disney, they didn't. It wasn't because they handed the franchise to a woman that was the problem. They handed the franchise to an idiot. That was the problem. And then you got all these people going after Marvel Comics. And the feminist, Arsenio Sato, or whatever his fucking name, editor in chief. That guy was a moron. And he was finally fired and thrown out of Marvel because Marvel sales dropped. But the real problem with Marvel is still there. And that's Isaac, yeah, sorry about that. Isaac Perlmutter. Perlmutter is an interesting person. First of all, he's the one who allowed all those feminist extremists to take over Marvel. And he didn't give a shit. Mainly because most people don't know this, but he's slowly losing control of Marvel. And he was in charge of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, starting with Iron Man 1, and then was finally thrown out after the first Avengers came out because he overexpended money, and Disney, Paramount, and everybody who was responsible for the first Avengers movie didn't get any of their money back. And Paramount just laughed it off. And also because, as you know, Iron Man, or Tony Stark's played by Robert Downey Jr., his friend Randy, the character was Buddy, was the actor was switched in both between Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. And Perlmutter literally said this, and this got him into a lot of trouble. And I'm not joking. He literally said this. He said, they're black people. No one will ever know the difference. Yeah, he said that out loud. He also said, when people were asking why there wasn't a Black Widow film, he said that boys don't want to play with vaginas. Brilliant speaker. He went on to say other wonderful things, barring on the edge of sexism and racism. And this was, and I believe, and many other people do believe, that he allowed these ultra feminist nutjobs to take over because, well, he didn't give a shit. See, they kicked him off the Marvel Cinematic Universe after the Avengers, because the Avengers was the last straw for Disney, and Disney now has complete control of the Cinematic Universe, which he started from the Paramount Pictures. And Isaac has been a complete dick on lots of reasons, especially his famous fight with Fox over the franchises of X-Men and Fantastic Four, which he literally was noted for picking up a hammer and smashing every Fantastic Four and Iron Man poster that he could find in the hallways throughout Marvel Comics, to the point that they had to take them all down because he destroyed not just the pictures but the walls, because when you're smashing posters with hammers, you're kind of destroying the wall behind them. And he would be the kind of guy to be vindictive. Is like, oh, you don't like what I say about women and black African Americans? Well, I'm gonna find the most extreme feminists and put them all in charge. Basically, Perlmutter is the exact opposite. And they can't kick him out of Marvel yet because he still has some control over Marvel Comics. and he actually has control over Marvel Comics, as well as ownership of Marvel for now. But from what I understand, it will probably end about this year, in which I think they're going to remove him. Unfortunately, he'll still get money from Disney because they made him a non-controlling partner. They were originally going to make him a controlling partner, but now he's a non-controlling partner. I wonder why. Yeah, like you need a clue on that one. So they have to keep him on, but they're not going to give him any control of anything because, well, he's fucking batshit crazy. Hell, they weren't even supposed to kick him off the cinematic universe, but they kicked him off anyways because he wouldn't shut the fuck up. And, you had the Wonder Woman film, which proved him completely wrong. It proves what I've been saying for a while. No one cares what the sex or the race of the people are in the films. They only want one thing: a good fucking movie. By the way, to add salt to the MRA nut jobs, Ivan Reitman was willing to have an all-female Ghostbusters, but Amy Pascal turned down that because she didn't want Ivan Reitman or the past two movies to be associated with her new Ghostbusters flick because she's a fucking bitch. The fucking end.